Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Nick Murphy. I'm one half of the Brothers Murph, and this is 3D Gaming. 3D Gaming, we are here in a new area. This is my new room. Look at that, there's a bed over there, there's a closet, there's a bunch of different stuff. You know how bedrooms work. But nonetheless, this is where our 3D printer is. It is no longer at our studio because we can't have it there because it's just too loud, and if we can't be printing and filming at the same time, whereas our old place, we could be doing that. But this is how it's gonna have to be now. So the 3D games are probably gonna be mostly me at this point because the 3D printer is here with me at where I am living. See right there, a 3D printer is down on my mini painting table because I use this table less than my art table. You can say I have art going on there, so I tend to use this one less. So this is where the 3D printer will probably live for the foreseeable future. And then whenever I need to paint minis, I'll just move it over there and paint there. 3D Gaming is a series where we take different 3D printed things, usually off of Thingiverse, or sometimes we design them ourselves, that are for board games. Could be inserts, biddies, all this different kind of stuff. And then we print them out and then basically tell you whether or not they're worth it. So now that we have set the scene for what's going over here, I'm gonna send you over to Other Nick out in Ventura in our studio to tell you what we're printing out this week.
Thanks, Other Nick. Okay, so we are here in the studio and I want to show what we are going to be printing an insert for. We are going to be printing an insert out for, oh my gosh, the other heavy, for Dinosaur Island. Dinosaur Island is a great game, one of our favorite games. The thing is there's a lot in this game. It takes two whole boxes to make it work, and they're really heavy, like getting a workout playing with these things. So we are making an insert for this. Now this insert actually isn't for us though. This insert is for the person who won our giveaway, our 5,000 subscriber giveaway. But the good thing is that we actually have the game, so we can print out the insert, we can test it ourselves. One, to make sure they're getting a good insert and nothing's like warped or weird or anything like that. But then two, also, because then we kind of get to test it and see if it's worth it to print it out for ourselves. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the print, take a look at who made it, talk about it a little bit, and then we'll start printing.
Okay, hello everybody, we are here. We're gonna do the whole voiceover, looking at the stuff online part of this. So one thing I want to show real quick before we get into the insert, which is right over here, so pretty. I just want to point out something on Thingiverse that everyone, if you're printing stuff out, you should definitely be doing, and that is doing what's called makes. And that is where you essentially upload pictures of the stuff that you made. So in this situation here, we, of course, made these Dinosaur Island paddocks. We made this a couple episodes ago. We made these paddocks, which are done by C. Callow here. So good. Thank you so much again. And so you can basically upload pictures of your makes. And this is very, very useful because it shows people like how you personally did them. And also you can talk about like what went wrong, what went well, a bunch of different stuff. And so you can upload pictures, and then down here you get to talk about what it is you did. But then you also get to talk about like what printer you printed on, because this kind of stuff is important information. And so we did it on an Ender 3. We did not use a ref. We didn't use any supports. With this, the resolution we used. This is just important to do because one, it's just you adding to part of the community, just talking, you know, just a lot of the board game community, the Thingiverse community and the 3D printing community is very close knit and is very helpful, and people talk and like share information and share stuff. I mean, Thingiverse for the most part is like thousands and thousands and thousands of free designs, like just free, that you can just print out of your home that someone spent a lot of time designing. So it's just that makes a really wonderful tight-knit community. And so this is a way, if you're not going to be designing, that you can kind of give back to that community, give advice, talk about what went well, and then just show the cool stuff that you printed out. So I just wanted to show that, and also this makes sense because we are doing something else for Dinosaur Island today. So, going after that, we are going to print out an insert for Dinosaur Island. And this was designed by JD Peters. JD Peters, thank you so much for this design, and thank you so much for letting us do this video. I do want to point out that there is a non-commercial license on this design. That basically means you can't make any money off of it. But we did email JD Peters and ask specifically if we could make this video, and he very graciously said yes, no problem. And so just want to let him know that thank you so much for, again, letting us make this video. And this is something you also want to watch out for. Like if someone is going to pay you to make an insert or something like that for a game, make sure it doesn't have a non-commercial license on it, because if it does have this kind of license, you can't do that. And so you just need to make sure, look at the licenses, and always give people credit where it is deserved. And JD Peters, thank you so much for making this awesome insert. So now this insert is for Dinosaur Island. You can see all the different stuff. It's actually a bunch of little pieces. It's not one big cohesive insert. You can see here, this is for the player pieces. This is for the purple one. We got like the beakers and all the meeples and the little tokens and stuff here. And then this one's for the coins. And so this is all in a bunch of little parts. And JD Peters said there's some great inserts already out there, but designed this one for 2 reasons. I have a fairly small printer and I'm only able to print objects a little over 12 centimeters cubed. And you want to have the solution where you have the flexibility to fit all the content in a single box. Now, I think this is really cool because, one, we also have a small printer. Ender 3s are not very big printers, especially, they're pretty tall, but they're not very big in terms of the base plate. And so doing a big insert for a normal sized game like Dinosaur Island, these are usually 12 by 12 boxes, the Ticket to Ride size box, that's too big. We can't print an insert out that's this size. So this is great because it's a bunch of little stuff, you know, and you can print it out. And then also one thing he says down here in his description is that a lot of this is meant to be used in the game. So like these ones that hold the attractions, these ones that hold the lab upgrades, you can just take this out of the box and put it right down on the board. And then you don't need to take these out. You can just leave them in here and they're nice little holders during the game, which I think is super cool. And so they're just going through the different stuff. So there's a bunch of little parts. There's like trays for the little meeples. And this, I think, is the coolest part, is he even designed and printed out a way and a guide to put it back in your box. So you can just print this out and like tape this to the bottom of your box so you know what order things go into. You put the boards down here, then you put all this stuff down here, then you put all this stuff on top here. And it's a very, very cool thing to do. And then here he shows how you actually go ahead and do that. And it's just a very, very cool thing and a great way to do that. I think it's just awesome. So we're going to print these out. Now, printing these out is going to be nice because, again, we can probably print multiple of these out at the same time. Like we can print this one and this one because they're not very big on their own. So we're going to go ahead and, oops, I don't know what I did. We're going to go ahead and start trying to print these out. We're going to see how they go. But again, thank you, JD Peters. Go over and give JD Peters some love for creating this and for allowing us to do this video. Thank you so much. And let's get a printing. All right, so we're going. So as I always say, make sure to watch the first layer. The first layer is very, very important. And you need to always make sure you're watching the first layer to make sure that it's going down smoothly. So especially in something like this, like the vast majority of the time things are going to fail in the first layer. So watch it. It takes 10-15 minutes, but just make sure you do it because it can make all the difference. All right, so right now we have our skirt is going down. It should be done, so let's see how this first one goes. There we go. Okay. So again, we're just watching it to make sure nothing's coming up, watching it to make sure that it's going down smoothly. And this, again, is all a bunch of different boxes, so I always need to make sure I'm watching all the way through. Like this whole big area is where everything is going to get printed. So it looks like it's going down well so far, and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth forever. And so, all right, we'll check back in a little later when the rest of the first layers are going down, and then we'll see how it looks. Alrighty, so all the first layers are down, and right now it's working on the second layer. So generally how I do this is I tend to have the first layer kind of squished up against the nozzle, not completely against it, but relatively close, because I want to always make sure that it adheres to the bed. And then after the first layer, I always drop the bed down a little bit and probably put it more at where it should be when it's printing. I've always had so many problems with adhesion to the bed that I always want to make sure. So the first layer a lot of times doesn't look that great like that, but that's okay because, again, the first layer is going to get covered up by about a billion other layers, so it doesn't really matter. And this way I ensure that I have a nice adhered layer, and then the rest of it, I'll put it where it should be. So this is going. So at this point, we can kind of leave it. I'll check in on it every once in a while. But all right, we got about 6 hours to go. Alrighty, so we are 2 hours and 46 minutes in. Looks like it's going pretty well so far, you know. Doesn't really look like there's any problems. The boxes look good. And we're just cruising.
Print faster! Print faster! Print faster! Print faster!
Alrighty, and we are done. They look good. They look great. Alrighty.
Alrighty, so we have our new ones here, which is awesome. But I want to show the ones I did before. So these are the ones I did before. I did a couple different ones. But they all were very, very streaky. You can see this streaky, and they just didn't look very good. Ultimately, in terms of their like structural integrity, they're totally fine. Like there's no problem. So like I'm definitely gonna keep these because like, there's no point in us reprinting them. Ultimately, this is an insert. It doesn't need to be super pretty, but you can see like just how streaky and kind of bumpy it is. And so I kind of looked up what this might be, and it looks like it's an extrusion issue. So it is most likely because of a clog, or just you need to kind of clean out your nozzle. So I went and did that, and I'll show how I did that in a second. But then you can see, the difference. See how much smoother this one is? It's much, much, much smoother, especially in comparison to like this. You can see like the kind of really rough, kind of bumpy, again, ultimately fine, but then like the smooth, this is how it is, much, much better. So I did learn how to clean out my nozzle a little better, and that is super, super cool. So I'll show you how I did that right now. It's super easy. Okay, so I'm going to go over a little bit about how to clean out the nozzle, at least in the way that I have done it. There are a number of ways of doing it. I've only really done this way. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. So essentially, our printer came with this thing right here. It's a needle stuck into a piece of foam, and I was very confused about what this is. Turns out what this is for you to clean out your nozzle. So what you want to do is heat up your nozzle, and then basically you can just kind of stick this up into your nozzle when it's hot. And what it is, if there's any blockage or anything up in there that's causing problems, what you're hoping to do when you put this up there is essentially just break it up. Break it up so then when your print is starting and doing kind of the skirt or anything like that, it'll get all that gunk out there. So what I'll do is I'll throw this little thing up there, kind of mish it around a little bit, try to get some of the stuff out there, and then it has worked really well to help things flow a little bit better. So now we are all heated up. I'm gonna go ahead and continue printing this insert right here after I get these little dingleberries off here. Come on, you bastard. No. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and start this up, and hopefully that means things will go well. So there we go. Alrighty, here it is. That's the insert. It's a big pile of stuff. And we are going to then try now and put it together. So you can see it's a lot of different pieces, and I have to have the little description up. This is why having that little thing that JD Peters made, the little diagram of like where things go, how things go, is really, really cool, because that's going to make this look a lot easier. Because one thing about this is it's really just a bunch of boxes, and like, if you don't know, like this one's obviously for the coins. You're like, all right, that one's for the coins. That makes sense. But like a lot of the other ones are like, what's this one for? This one looks very similar to this one, which also looks very similar to this one, except for this one's a little smaller. So it's like, how do you figure out what to do? That's what that description is for, and I think it's really, really cool. So let's go ahead and open up our copies of Dinosaur Island. Let's try to fit it all in here, and let's see how it goes. That is cool. All right, look at that. God, that fits perfectly. If that don't fit perfectly, bang. One. All right, there's the player pieces. Ooh, that's so pretty. That does look good. Not gonna lie. That does look good. That does look good. Okay, so this is all the stuff put into little bits. We have an extra tray, which if we have space, we'll try and throw it in there. We printed an extra one out just to see if we wanted to put more meeples in here. We may put more paddocks or more paddock fences. We'll see if we can use this one. But nonetheless, this is everything here, so let's go ahead and try to put it all into the box. Alrighty, there's the first layer down there. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good.
Zippity boo 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 boo. The song ran out and I didn't feel like putting it in again, so Nick is supplying the music for this part of the time lapse. Thank you, J.D. Peters, for making this beautiful insert, and thank you all for watching this stupid video. Listen to me sing, yeah, 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 yeah. Subscribe.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. So the putting it together was a little confusing, but now I understand what the issues were. So one thing, I had to take out these things of dinos, and I was not able to use this extra tray. And then these, as we talked about, wouldn't fit in there. I didn't get to fit all the fences or all of our paddocks in, but our paddocks and fences, we definitely printed more than we needed anyway. And again, you just don't really need all of these dinos, though you could put them in if you wanted. And that's where I got a little confused with the assembly of the thing. So if we open it up, one, I forgot to put these rule books in there, but nonetheless, they would just sit right there, you know, boom, boom. So you just put the stuff on there. I really wanted to have these visitors in their own tray because they actually fit really, really well into one of these trays. But then there's just nowhere to put that tray, which is too bad. I mean, although they're being in here is not a huge deal, but it's just what I would probably do is put them in a Ziploc bag and then put them in here so they don't actually spill out. But nonetheless, we just throw our slat bracelet up here, and then you kind of go through it. So we have all of our 5 player pieces up here. We have the executive spots, all the executive meeples with the Mega Rex over here. And then we have all the AI cards. So the AI cards for the original game and then Totally Liquid as well. We have right there, we have our paddocks and our paddock fences. The paddock fences, again, you could use this to hold the meeples or maybe hold more dinosaurs. And then just carry less paddocks. But again, it's kind of up to you, even if you have these paddocks. Now, we do have the printed out paddocks, and it does say J.D. Peters says you should probably print out the 3D printed paddocks because they're a lot smaller. And this insert is made to have these paddocks with it. So know that going into it. And then we have the dice, and everything here sits really, really well. Again, we have a lot of meeples. We have all the cards which fit perfectly in there. It's all very well and good. So now if we take out some of the meeples, all of the cards from Totally Liquid go right here. So it's all your PR events, your blueprints, all that kind of stuff. As I said, the executives, and here's all the executive boards right here. Now this is the spot where I got kind of confused because there's actually a couple different setups you can do. So if you are down to not have these in the box, you can instead put 2 more things of dinos in here. These are the 2 trays I had to leave out. And they fit perfectly in here because they're the same size as these. So it's kind of up to you. The problem is you can't have both these with all of the cards and 2 more trays for dinosaurs or whatever you want. So personally, I'm more for putting these in here because I want everything in one box, and honestly, it's not that big a deal not having all the dinosaurs in there. Then all of your other cards, your objectives, your plot twists, your specialists, all go right here on top of the coins. And then, you know, we have our beautiful little dice tray right there. And then, of course, our fences and our paddocks and our 5 player pieces. Boom. And then we have here on the bottom, we have all the boards. This is all the player boards, the market, all that kind of stuff. And then we have our little extra bit holder. This just holds like the extra visitors and stuff they give you. We have the lab upgrades, the basic lab upgrades, which go right in there. And then this holds all the little VIP ones. Then we have our lab upgrades here, and then our attractions. This one right here holds all like the little baby goats and then like the little baby dinosaurs. And this is again for the Totally Liquid expansion. These are all the dino recipes. And then of course we have our coins over here. And that is how the whole thing goes together. It goes together really, really well. It actually works very, very well. Again, you can't fit everything into the box, but here's the thing. These two games are not getting into one box. It's just not. And that's kind of what JD Peters said, is like, it fits almost everything. It is scientifically impossible to get everything they give you into one box. It's just not gonna happen. So you're either gonna have to have it in two boxes, or you're gonna have to be okay with leaving like a thing of meeples out, which again, you can print these out, put a lid on it, and just put it on your shelf or put it somewhere, and you can still have it, you know, and that's kind of how it is, and that's totally fine. But nonetheless, that's how the insert works. It looks pretty good. Okay, so what is the verdict? What does it come down to? Basically, what these things kind of come down to is like, okay, was this worth it? Is it good to print? This isn't going to us, this is going to a follower again, but nonetheless, it's like, do we want to print this out ourselves? Here's the thing, ultimately what it comes down to is, yes, I think it's totally worth it. I think it's a really, really great insert. The fact that you can get almost everything from these two things into this one box is honestly crazy. I don't know how JD Peters thought of this design, but everything fits like I mean, with no room to spare. It's configured insanely well. And it's, again, way cheaper than buying something on like Broken Token. But this is a game that really could use an insert, and I think this one is outstanding, fantastic. It took around, I would say, between 20 to 25 hours to print total, which is really not bad considering how many of these things you had to print. And each one of these is gonna take about an hour, 2 hours to print, depending on how big they are. And so print job wasn't very hard. They're pretty easy things to print. They're very simple. They don't have a lot of detail. You can print them pretty roughly. We did not use a very high resolution on these because there's just no reason to. They don't need to look super pretty. They just need to work. And so that's one good thing about printing inserts is, again, you don't need, if it's not like the prettiest thing, like who cares? Does it hold cards? Yes, then that's all that matters. Now, here's the thing with us and why as of right now, I don't think we're gonna print this out ourselves. It honestly has nothing to do with the design. Well, it does have something to do with the design. It has nothing, it's no fault of the designer. It's not JD Peters' fault, but here's the thing. This insert doesn't really store vertically. Stuff in there is moving around, which is gonna suck for me to clean up, but nonetheless, this isn't ours, so I have to put everything back into bags anyway. But as you can see behind us here, wow, God, this is heavy. I just put it down with one arm, holy crap. We store our games vertically. We like storing our games vertically a lot. We absolutely hate storing games horizontally. This insert is 100% awesome and perfect if it's being stored horizontally. It doesn't really work as well when it's being stored vertically. Now, again, that's not JD Peters' fault who designed this. That's just the fault of a lot of inserts. A lot of inserts don't really work when you store your games vertically. And now this one does come with some lids, and the lids go over these small ones just fine. And if everything had these lids, it'd be perfect. It'd be absolutely perfect. But if everything had these lids, it all wouldn't fit in the box. Because like I said, JD Peters, I mean, just no room at all, which is great and it's perfect. But with all these lids, I don't think everything would fit. And then you just have to have lids on lids on lids, and it would be kind of a pain and kind of defeat the purpose of an insert, which to me doesn't make the game easier to set up, easier to take down, easier to play. This one very much does. But if I have to open the box and reorganize everything because everything went everywhere, you know, that kind of takes away that. So here's the thing. The verdict is it's totally worth it. It's great. I love the fact that it's in a bunch of different pieces so you can print it on any printer, no matter how big, how small. I love that. An absolutely great insert, just not going to be one for us because of the fact that we can't store it vertically, which is frankly our problem, no one else's problem. And so, but nonetheless, a really great design. Again, go over and give JD Peters a shout out for this wonderful design and print it out for yourself. It's really wonderful. And it's just, man, it's just a good time. So that is the insert for Dinosaur Island. Thank you so much for being here with 3D Gaming. Make sure to like and share this video and subscribe to the Brothers Murph if you haven't subscribed to us already. And down in the comments, let me know what you want me to print out next. Do you want us to print out more inserts? Do you want us to print out more kind of blinged out stuff? If there's anything specific you want us to print, put it down in the comments. Link the Thingiverse file or whatever file it is down in the comments below so we can go to it, take a look and see if it's something we want to print out. And thank you so much for being here with me, Nick Murphy. I'm part of the Buzz Murph. This is 3D Gaming, and we'll see you later.